Everyone, and welcome to, I guess I could still call it so many levels, but today we're not playing Dungeons and Dragons, we're going to play Fiasco. I am Christiana Ellis. With me are Lee Burdett and Nutty.
Hello.
Uh,
Hey,
we are sometimes players in a Curse of Strahd Dungeons and Dragons game, but we couldn't get everybody together this week, so we decided to try this game. Um, it had been suggested in the past a long time ago as a perhaps alternate game, and then Nutty suggested it again this week when we were talking about how to, what to do this week. Um, so I realized that I have played it once or twice, but never while, so always at a convention and never while 100% sober. And so, um, Nutty, what's your history with the game?
I've played it a few times. A good friend of mine is the one that introduced me to it back in New Brunswick, and so we played a handful of times, and it was always good fun. Sometimes we'd have so many people in the house that we'd actually have two games running at once, one in the kitchen, one in the living room. And the really funny thing is, we ended up having like recurring NPCs. So if there's any form of a meth tooth Tony, he came from New Brunswick.
All right. And so, Lee, you have not played this at all, am I correct?
no, this is brand new to me.
All right, so for anyone who is unfamiliar with Fiasco, the basic idea is this is a collaborative storytelling game. Although I am the dungeon master when we play Dungeons and Dragons, there is no dungeon master in this game. We're all three equal participants, and we're going to collaboratively tell a story of plans gone horribly wrong. That's basically what Fiasco is all about.
Yeah.
So,
Picture a Guy Ritchie movie
mm,
where they got the setup and then everything goes wrong.
right. Or Coen Brothers are good with
Oh,
those too.
yeah.
Like, basically, there's a bunch of characters in play. Somebody has a plan to pull something off, and it all goes wrong in horrible and hopefully entertaining ways. So, first, I've got us set up here in Roll20, but it's a very different setup than Dungeons and Dragons, obviously. First thing I want you guys to check is check for me if you can move the dice.
Nope.
I cannot move the dice.
Okay.
Oh wait, I'm not in. Hang on. I tried to do that on. Okay, I cannot move the dice. I was trying to do it on the Hangouts
Okay.
screen. That's not gonna work.
So I'm trying. I'm not sure how to. There should be a way to do it, but I don't know because like it doesn't give me some of the normal commands. Um, Cause okay, so unfortunately that makes us have to do a little bit more preparation. Alternately, last resort is I can move them, and I will just always move them if necessary. But let me briefly just see if I can't. Um, uh, if I can't make this more workable. Um, okay. Um, oops. Okay. Let me test this then. So I'm about to drag a new die onto there that's in player 3. Can you guys try moving that one?
Nope.
Nope.
See, now that... Because you guys have the, because it's set, can be edited and controlled by everybody. So it should be. Because I followed a guide that was saying, here's how to make these things, and here's how to make it a token, and then it just says, and assign it so that everybody can control it. But it gives me no command to say that. So that's sucky.
Yes. I'm not able to move it, but I did discover that you can recenter your screen if you right click drag around the screen.
Okay, well, it's
Oh, cool.
For future use.
For future reference, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, because there's like an edit command that I believe would normally be where that would go, but it doesn't let me click it. And then I just created this character that uses that token. So part of what is supposed to happen here is that not only can you see it, but you can actually roll this die. Like, for example, if I take this upper right one here, I right click, multi-sided random side, it rolls it like a die.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
And it would be extra cool if you guys could do that. But for whatever reason, it is not letting me make that change, because there's even on the table, there's a little checkbox that says players can roll from table, and yes, but okay, well, eventually someone will figure this out.
That's strange. It might have been set up on a previous version of Roll20 and something's just not working.
Well, except that all I did was, I'm using a function that's just exactly for doing this. It is rollable table, which is an existing function, and then I make a token of it, and that's what I did. And so that's exactly what that's what that feature does. So,
yeah.
Apologies to anyone who might be watching this or listening to it later. Probably if I do audio, I might cut this little bit out. But this is trial and error. We're playing this game for the first time on Roll20 here. I'm going to Google just really quick. If I can't figure this out, I'll just move them when we need to. It's not critical, but ideally, we would like to have everybody be able to do it. Make rollable table controlled by players. Okay, so the wiki for making a rollable table. So, creating a rollable table token. So I followed that, and it doesn't, like, it's, So, like, I'm confused because it just doesn't. Is the problem that we're not? I notice I'm missing some other commands too, and I wonder if it's just. Let's see. Just because, for example, like when we're normally playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, I can take a token and say, like, add a turn. And I have other abilities, other things that I can do with the tokens that it's not giving me the option for here. So, yeah, I don't know why that is. Let me just make sure that there's not a page setting that's screwing something up. No. interesting. So, like, for example, I'm going to drag another thing in here. That's interesting. See, when I just grab and pull this in, this little artwork here, I have different options for that. And I can make that yeah, see, I have different options for that, and I can make it movable. Interesting. I wonder. Let me try this. So that's not currently set up as a. It's not currently set up as a die, so it's not going to work that way. But
I can't select it yet.
Hang on, try it now.
Okay, sorry. Yes, now I can move it.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Try setting it up as a die now.
Well, the problem is that is only the picture of the 5. It's not set up as a die.
Right.
Okay. Here, I think I know what I'm gonna try something here. Okay, I'm gonna have all those tokens and set them all that they could be controlled by all players. And then I will use those images. Please don't move them for a second, just so I can don't lose track of which ones I've fixed. But I'm glad that you can move it. Okay. And then I'm going to try to edit this. Now, see, it's still just pulling the images. Like, why? When I drag just the picture on. That's weird. That's weird. Well, okay, let me try this. Okay. I'm just guessing you guys probably still can't move that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I think I might know the issue. Ooh. Okay, try moving it. Anyone?
Yep.
Yeah! All right. The problem was that it was set to be as a drawing, is drawing, and I didn't want it to, we need it to not be a drawing, it needs to be a token.
And
So-
if I double click it, that lets me edit. How do I roll it?
No, to roll it,
Yeah.
you right click, go down to multi-sided, and
Scene.
select random side.
Gotcha. Cool.
All right. So let me copy that and add the appropriate number of them.
If anything, I feel like this podcast is a great way to learn how to use Roll20.
Sure. Yep. All right. So there should be 2 for each of us, and then there will be 2 black ones once I fix that.
Okay.
All right. Make sure you guys can move the other white ones that I just did, just added.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good. Try moving the black ones.
No dice on the
Oh,
black
wait,
ones.
no, sorry. Shoot. I started copying before I actually set them to be controllable by all players.
One of the black ones
Yep.
worked.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm fixing the others. All right, so this will work in a second. Okay. Need 2 more
Yep.
of those. Okay. All right, so there are now, for each of us, 2 white die and 2 black die. That's how we determine how many of, total die there should be.
Yeah.
So, the first basic thing, let's just talk about what's on the board here in a high level way, and then we'll pick a scenario.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do once we have our scenario is we're going to start establishing relationships with one another. Because there's only 3 of us, each of us will, everyone will have a relationship with everyone else.
Yep.
But the rule is you establish a relationship with the person on your left and the person on your right. And so if we had 4, you wouldn't necessarily establish a relationship with the 4th person, just the 2 adjacent. But with 3, we're adjacent to everybody. So the relationship is going to be determined by, we're going to roll all the dice, and then depending on what the numbers are, will give us access to certain items from certain lists in the playset, which we'll get into in a moment once we pick one. And then once we have relationships, we'll start establishing needs, objects, and locations, which will further solidify that relationship. So hypothetically, for example, Lee, you and I might end up family, then refined to siblings, and we might have a location in common where it's maybe the McDonald's on the interstate, and so then we would, once selecting those details, you and I would start to hash out just verbally, okay, well, maybe, I'm the older sister, and this is the McDonald's where we always went when we were a kid, and it's still kind of where each of us, that's, when we're going to go and meet each other, that's when we hang out, where we hang out.
Okay.
That's just an example. And then, so you can have an object that's the same thing. When you have a need that gets assigned to a relationship, that should be a need that applies to both. And so, for example, if the need is to earn respect, that should be something that both of us feel strongly about. And so we will essentially flesh out the nature of these relationships based on the details that get assigned to them, that we're selecting from the lists in the setup phase. Once we have done all of that and we have the setup phase, we'll move to Act 1. And in Act 1, we'll play out a number of scenes based on all of these relationships where we'll each take turns. And so let's say it's my turn for the first scene. I get to choose whether to establish or resolve. If I choose to establish, that means I'm going to decide, what is this scene? What is it about? And maybe I say, I'm meeting my sister at the McDonald's, and we're both going to talk about how we need to get more respect around here. And then you and I would essentially kind of just role play that scene. But it needs a resolution. Because it was my turn, my character should be the primary focus of the scene. And based on how the scene is unfolding, everybody other than me picks whether it's going to have a good resolution for me or a bad resolution for me. If it's good, I get a white die. If it's bad, I get a black one. And then in Act 1, I then would take that die and give it to someone else. That's how it works for Act 1. In Act 2, I keep it. But if I chose on my turn instead to resolve, what that means is I can decide that whatever the scene is, it's going to go well for me or it's going to go poorly for me. And this is not a game about winning, so it's not just a case where I would always want it to be good, because sometimes it's more interesting for the story if it doesn't go well for me, right? So, so we definitely need, when we go into a game like this, it's about telling an interesting story, not about winning. Now, you could decide that you want your character to win and have a good outcome, and so you could try to play that way, but that's not a goal. That's a desire for enhancing the storytelling,
right?
And so otherwise it works out the same. So if I choose that it's going to go well or go poorly for me, then you guys decide what is the scene that's going to go well or poorly for my character. And so then we basically go around and we do scenes until we have used up half the dice. So there's 12 total dice for the three of us, which means we're going to have 6 scenes.
Okay.
And then we have what's called the tilt, which we're going to add up how many dice we each have, and based on some rules there, we'll end up selecting things from new lists that essentially are going to throw everything out of whack. Okay. So whatever our plans are, however our characters have decided to set about pursuing whatever their needs are, the tilt is going to upset things. And then in Act 2, we do scenes again, but this time you keep the die instead of giving it away. And in Act 2 is essentially where things are starting to come to a head. Before it was, getting things ready, you're maybe making your plan. In Act 2, you are reacting to whatever has happened before. The tilt is elements that you're going to try to incorporate, and you're basically upping the ante, you're rising tension, everything's kind of coming to a head and probably going terribly wrong, because that's the nature of the game. And then once we've used up all the dice, we have the aftermath, and you're going to basically, once again, based on the rules we'll get into when we come to it, you'll come to a number based on the results of the dice you have, and that'll tell you essentially how well or how poorly your character, their final outcome is. And then we'll have a montage just essentially describing the final fate of that particular character. So that's the game. So a lot of that will become more clear as we do it, but the first thing that we need to do now is select a playset. And there are 4 that are included with the basic game that you can buy from Bully Pulpit Games. We basically just need to decide which one we're going to do. The 4 that are included are Main Street, which is set in like a small southern town. There is Boomtown, which is like an Old West sort of Deadwood style thing. There is Tales from Suburbia, which is pretty much what you might guess. And then there is The Ice, which is set in like the Antarctica research station. Do anyone have an immediate preference?
I don't have an immediate preference. I'm gonna kind of lean towards Boomtown because I haven't played that one.
Yeah, that one sounded interesting.
Yeah, okay. I'm up for that one. I was
Let's
going to
go to
say,
Deadwood.
yeah, I was interested in, the more unusual too, so that one works. So, Boomtown. So, briefly,
So
you
the
guys, I'm.
tag on this
Hmm?
podcast. I said so explicit tag on this podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the nature of the game too, and as we go through, some of the actual rules from the rule book include swearing, so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm thinking Deadwood, and I'm like, let's go to Deadwood, you cocksuckers.
that's right. Um, okay, so I just realized I had closed my preview of the Twitch stream just so I could monitor to see if anyone's in there.
Now I'm wishing I invited Sheriff Bullock.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Okay. So I'm going to email you guys the playset for these. And based in terms of deciding what goes on the stream, what made sense to me is that the three of us as players would see the lists, but it's only going to show up on the screen once we have made a selection, and it will appear, we'll type it into our card. So that way, you guys will see it there, but we're not just posting pages from this game that you can buy on the stream.
Right.
Because that would not be fair.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, I think that they're generally okay, I think, with that sort of thing in the context of gaining more attention about their game. But at the same time, it's also complicated for the stream, so it just seemed best for lots of reasons to do it that way. So I'm emailing you this PDF right now.
It's the same as the one that's in the main PDF, though, right?
Yeah, so if you have that
Okay.
already,
I have that.
You can look at that one. But I basically took just the pages from that, set and made it into its
Right.
own separate PDF just for simplicity's sake. So
By the way, anyone watching, while Christiane is doing this, if they are interested in this game, you can buy the PDF for $12, or for $25 you can get the print copy and the PDF. And they also have expansions, and it's all sorts of things. And it's a really great game company.
Yeah, Bully Pulpit Games, and that's actually what I did because I didn't own it already, and so when we were talking about playing it, I said, "Oh, well, let me just go pick it up for $12. I can do that."
Yep.
So what we are looking at for this playset is it's essentially lists of relationships, needs, locations, and objects, and essentially they're each set in in kind of chunks of 6 and refined as chunks of 6. So what I mean by that is for relationships, there's 6 categories, and then there's 6 choices within each category. And then likewise for needs, locations, and objects. And so the way that this all works is now that we've got our playset settled, I'm going to select all the dice, and we're going to roll them all at once, which I've just done on the screen. So now these are the dice values that we have. So we're going to go around in a circle taking turns. And so let's say I go first, and I want to establish the relationship with Nutty. And so if there's a 1, I could take that 1 and put it on my card here, and that will mean that Nutty and I have a family relationship. But it doesn't narrow it down yet until one or the other of us picks another die. And so let's say Nutty takes her turn, she picks a 4, which per this list is a parent, child, or stepchild relationship. And that's how we would establish those various things. And then we basically just go around until we have used up all the dice.
All right.
So that's the basic idea. And then the first rule is, first of all, let's just briefly decide who's player 1, 2, 3. I mean, we can just go top down. That maybe makes sense.
That might be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me. I'm actually going to put that on the. Okay, I'm putting that on the stream here. Let's see. Okay. And then once we've started establishing these characters and we know a little bit more about who they are, we'll give each character their own name. And then we'll write that in the circle. And so you guys can do that just with the text tool from,
Right.
when we're writing stuff. So we'll add the die, drag it onto the card, but then also make sure to type the text in, especially since the people watching the stream can't see it.
So you're player 1, Lee's player 2, I'm player 3?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that doesn't mean that. So we'll go in sequential order, but that doesn't determine who starts first, because the rule in the game is the person who goes first is the person who was born in the smallest town.
Not me, I'm sure.
Now, I grew up in unincorporated Boulder County, which is technically it's not really even a town. It was nearby a small town, but I was born in Boulder, which is not small.
Yeah, I was in I grew up in an unincorporated town, but I was born in a pretty big town in New York. So, Lee, where were you born?
I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, but where I live now and where I live in a house that I grew up in, and it's unincorporated as well.
Wow. All right, let's look up the populations of our hometowns.
Yeah, so let's just basically say, excluding the hospital where you were born, the first house that you were in. So when your parents took you home from the hospital, where did they take you? And for me, it was still Boulder.
Yeah, so it looks like, at least for the last 20 years, it was around 3,000 people. So
yeah,
Boulder's definitely bigger than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what was yours, Lee?
It's close to 500,000.
Okay.
Wow, I can't believe it.
I can't believe it's that big either.
I just normally.
Well, is that a whole county or?
No, that's just Raleigh.
Oh well, Raleigh. Well, so I thought we were
the incorporated village you grew up in, though.
Yeah, so not counting the hospital, but when you went home from the hospital, where was that?
I still have to say Raleigh.
Okay, well, so in that case, I think Nutty, you said
I go first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
All right, so Nutty will go first. Go ahead.
This is really funny because I've only ever played this game in New Brunswick, and almost every town in New Brunswick is smaller than my hometown. But of our group, we had people that came from less than 200 people towns. So it's really surprising because I'm always like, yeah, it's not me. All right.
I'm briefly looking at the setup rules again just to make sure. So I think we go through all the dice for this.
Yes.
And then we will reset the dice back into the center once we have completed the setup. So probably ideally the first things we establish, we start getting the relationship in there, not necessarily the final details, but we start building those just because that gives us a context for all the other things. So
exactly.
So if you're going first, Nutty, go ahead and pick a die and then decide where it goes.
I'm going to pick at random. What did I click closest to? I clicked in the middle. Hang on. There we go. I picked a 1, and I will build and I go to the
You
next
can.
person,
I
which
mean,
would be Christiana.
you don't. You can decide to do that. You don't have to do that.
That's true. I could go either way, but I'm going to do Christiana. So we have a
Okay.
family relationship.
All right.
Put it on your card, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
Okay.
so the cards are shared.
Right. Yeah.
So the card that's between player 1, player 2
Oh,
refers to
so
the
that would be
relationship between the two
this
characters.
one. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'm getting this.
And then likewise, the cards between each player circle refer to the
Yeah.
relationship between those two. Okay. So you were player 3. That makes me next. So I'm going to pick. Let's see. I want there to be a crime relationship, so I'm going to pick this 5, and I'm going to make that part of the relationship between me and Lee. So you and I have a crime relationship, Lee.
Oh, nice.
All right, so now your turn, Lee.
Okay, let's see. Huh. Let's see. I'm going to say, whoops, wrong thing. Too many windows open. Okay, I'm going to say, does it have to be the black ones?
No.
Nope.
Any
No. Okay, so
no
I'm
difference
going to
between them
say,
at this stage.
I'm going to say that Nutty and I have a past.
The past. All right. So you're back up again, Nutty.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to where'd it go? I just saw it. There we go. I'm gonna say that there's a romance. I think that's how that works.
So the oops, I clicked away from
Or
the
we've
thing.
already done that, so now we're doing the
Yeah, so basically,
Yeah.
now that the past has been established, if you're adding another 4, that would be your war adversaries.
let's see.
So you can looking. Oh, I'm sorry.
I see
Wait,
where it
wait,
is,
wait.
yeah.
Okay, hang on. Because you looks like you
No.
placed a 4.
Yeah. Yeah,
4
so-
is for romance, not
Okay.
for the past. If you want it to be the past, you have to put a 3.
No, we'll just do romance.
Well, there we go. It was romance anyway.
All right. So what that means is that the next die we add to any of
The
these
next level, right.
refines it. Yeah.
All right. So what do we got? We've got some 4s. We've got some 6s, 1s.
Yeah. I did say we had a past.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with what you wanted with a past, and we were former lovers.
Well, no, it's still romance, but former lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
all
what I
right.
mean.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have a past.
I
It's
see.
not a first.
I'm just sorting the remaining numbers. Okay. So now my turn with a relationship with Nutty. I'm going to say, let's see. So we're already family. And so with a 1, we could be parent and son or daughter-in-law. We could be cousins. We could be parent and child or stepchild. Or we could be unrelated but close as blood. You know what? I'm going to say our relationship is parent and son or daughter-in-law. Now, that doesn't decide which of us is which or any of that. We'll have to start figuring that out. But now is as good a time as any to start thinking about that. Mm-hmm. But let's go ahead and get our refinement, our last refinement die, and then we'll start figuring out like the broad strokes of who we are to each other.
Okay.
So one more spot for the relationship between you and I within the crime list.
So. Oh, that would be horrible. Let's go with that.
All right.
So I picked 4: faith healer and patient.
All right. Okay. So,
I love it.
You and I, Lee, have we're faith healer and patient. Nutty and Lee together are former lovers, and Nutty and I are a parent and a son or daughter-in-law. So let's start nailing that down. So how about this? Let's say I'm an older lady who has fallen under the sway of this faith faith healer. And so that makes me the parent in the relationship with you, Nutty.
Otherwise, I'm really old.
Yeah. So that would make this little triangle. I'm just throwing this out there. Anyone else has other ideas too? This is all team effort. So.
Oh yeah. No, I'm good with that.
But so if I am an older lady who's fallen under the sway of this young, charismatic faith healer, who is the former lover of are you my son or daughter-in-law? Because that's certainly an option either way. Well, and for that matter, is our faith healer a man or a woman? You can be either. It doesn't.
Again, none of it matters.
It is the Old
I
West.
will be a son. I will be a son.
Okay.
Son-in-law.
So, my little do I know that my son-in-law is a former lover of this charismatic faith healer that has promised me that my faith can heal my various frailties.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what are our names? We need some good Old West names.
Mm.
Everyone come up with one and you enter it with the little text tool. I'm going to say my name is Hortense McGillicuddy. I'm not sure actually if I'm spelling that right in terms of the way that would normally be spelled. But that's how it is. That's how it's spelled today. Hortense McGillicuddy.
Okay. Yes, I will be Elwood Epps.
All right.
Move that so you can read it. There we go.
Elwood Epps.
Elwood Epps.
All right. Need it. Good.
And let's see. And I am Meg O'Neill.
Nice. Let's make your text size a little bit bigger, just so it's easy to read on the stream, if that's all right. You might have to retype it.
Okay.
The 26 size is what I used.
All right.
So maybe the way because this is Boomtown, right? This is Old West. So like this whole town is Wild West. It's the frontier. It's it's lots of people coming in, lots of stuff going on, but none of it's been going on too long because the whole place is not that old. So maybe as a part of traveling across the country, we're new here, and I'm following family, coming along with the rest of the family who has hoping for new opportunities in the frontier, and so Elwood maybe you do. What's the rest of your family? So if you're my son-in-law, is it my? Are you married to my daughter still, or?
I'm gonna say I'm a widower.
Oh
And
no!
yeah, but I have to take care of you because my wife died and left me you.
It's the right thing. You're you're
It's the
you're a
right
good
thing to
man.
do.
You're a man of duty, Elwood.
So I've come back to this town that I used to live in, and I find that the woman that I'm here to take care of is being healed by a faith healer who is my ex.
Yeah. So maybe this faith healer is new in town here
Mm,
because you've been run out of various other places. Maybe
there you go.
you like that. And so
Sure.
that might mean that like we had come here for new opportunities and for a fresh start and everything, but now this old business is coming back in and messing with your current business, Elwood.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. So let's start fleshing that out. So now we've got the relationship. So first, let's go ahead and enter those details on our cards.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and do the one between you and I, Lee.
Okay.
All right. So
All right. And then we've got parent, son-in-law.
uh-oh. No, that's not what I wanted to do. That's also not what I want to
All right.
do. I'm trying to enter the text and it's just
Oh,
not legible.
yeah.
I think we're writing
Whoops.
over each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, mine is smaller and you have more detail. So, all right.
All right. There we
All
go.
right.
I don't know if that's viewable on the stream.
It's it's a little small. Let's see.
I'm gonna bump that up. There we go. Because what happens is when I bump it up, it goes way too big in the preview screen, but it actually gets smaller once I click away. So that
Yeah.
looks a little better.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna make that one a little bigger too. Let's all, whenever we add stuff, try to use like 20 or bigger as the size,
Yeah,
just to
yeah, I
keep it
agree.
nice and legible. All right. So I believe that Lee added the last one, so that would make Nutty
Yep.
your turn. So now we're going to start adding needs, locations, and objects with the same approach. And so we don't all need to have we don't need a need for every relationship. We don't need a location for every relationship or so on. We should try to have a mix.
Right. I'm going to take one of these ones and put it on our card here and say that I need to get even. No, I'm sorry. I need to get free. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Even was the other idea.
All right. All right. And so one of the other elements is too that we might run into a situation where the like something doesn't get refined. So like let's say that you need to get free, and
we don't
let's
know
say we
from
never
what.
get another die for that. That
That's
just means
fine.
we just figure it out. It doesn't
Yep.
mean that there's nothing. It means that we just decide what it is. When a die is assigned, it locks it in. Otherwise, it's whatever. But the key is whatever does happen, we need it to stay happened. I just realized the text that you're writing is slightly green, Nutty. Is
Yep.
that on purpose?
Yes, I thought it would make it easier throughout play to know who wrote what,
Oh, okay.
so that I could figure out what I wrote.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to take. Let's see. I'm going to add an object And let's see. Let's see. Trying to decide what's good. Information. I'm going to say there's an information object between you and I, Lee. And so maybe Hortense is on the verge, or somehow there's some critical piece of information that has come about from the many lengthy conversations that you and I have had, about the Lord, and somehow some piece of information has arisen from that.
Okay. And I'm going to say that there is a to get even relationship.
Nice. So maybe the former lovers did not end well.
Or not.
Well, but then again, so the need to get even. So, like, when a need is between two characters, it needs to be important to both, right? And it doesn't mean they have to agree. It just means it's important. So, like, for example, for Elwood and Hortense to get free probably means he feels saddled with Hortense. Does not mean Hortense wants to get free of Elwood. It might just mean that if Elwood is free of her, what's she going to do? She's maybe not in great shape. And then likewise, to get even, it could be that you want to get even on Elwood, or it could be that together you wanted to get even with someone else, so on. All right, so that's you again, Nutty.
All right. I am going to.
This is where you start running out of dice, and it kind of forces your hand into some interesting things.
I have a 1 and 2 6s. Okay, hang on. Let me get back to my sheet here. That's funny. Yeah, I can't put it on other people's relationships, only mine.
I think you can put it anywhere. Is there a rule that you can't put it on someone else's? I think you can put it wherever you want.
Oh, that could be fun. So there is no need between Hortense and Magdalena, right?
Right. There doesn't need to be, but there isn't
No,
one
there
now.
doesn't need to be. But I'm just going to have fun and say that there is a need to get laid.
A need to get laid. All right.
I
Maybe
figured I'd force you guys to be creative.
Hortense has been alone for a while, and Magdalena is just so charming and awakening feelings that Hortense has never had the courage to express before. Maybe something like that makes more sense maybe than the idea that it would be the reverse direction. Okay. So we need to start making sure we're capturing.
Necessarily mean that Hortense wants to sleep with Magdalena. Maybe Hortense asks Magdalena to help her, or vice versa, with someone else. Yeah. Although, by the way, the one of the options is so you don't die a virgin. That would be very funny for Hortense. Since she already had a daughter.
All right. Okay, so there's a 1 and a 6 left. So there's a number of different things that we could do. So I could refine I could establish a new thing, but I think it's maybe more interesting to refine one of the ones that's already on there. So Magdalena and Elwood have a need to get even. And if I refine that, it would have to be one of those two choices. But I think it maybe it's more fun if maybe Magdalena wants to get even with Elwood. So maybe
Okay.
we could leave that one alone. I'm throwing things out there again. Like there's never a need to go with whatever I suggest if you guys have another idea.
Hmm.
I am tempted, of like I have to fight the DM urge to just decide what it is and declare it.
Do what I just did.
Okay, so um, we need to start adding this stuff as we pick them because otherwise it starts getting
Mhm.
confusing. So, but Hortense and Elwood had a need to get free, and I think we kind of started talking about what that might be already. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to refine the information between Hortense and Magdalena, and I have an idea for this. Let's see if you guys um, what you think about this. What if the information that's between us? I'm losing my. I need to be in the right page there. The information between us is an assay note on the minerals in the Circle S Ranch soil, and so maybe what's happening there is I am so charmed by Magdalena and all of this that this relationship that we've had that is perhaps a little it's more than just faith healer and patient, kind of from both sides for different reasons. But so maybe part of what I've mentioned in our many long conversations where I'm paying you is I mentioned that it turns out that this Circle S Ranch soil that I live on with my son-in-law is actually really rich ground, but nobody knows yet.
Not even me.
Well, you might know. I mean that you don't. It doesn't have to be a secret. I'm just thinking that it
No,
might be something that I don't know. Well, what do we say?
I'm
Do
thinking
you
it's
do?
more fun if I don't know and you're telling her, not me.
So what? So why would I know and not tell you? I'm not
Mm.
questioning it. I'm just let's figure it out.
Because you think if I knew, I would sell and run and set
Oh,
you up, but not actually be there to take care of you. It's not just that you're old and can't take care of yourself. It's that you don't want to be dumped somewhere and have somebody paid to take care of you. You
yeah.
want
Like we
me to
finally
take care
settled
of you.
here, and I like it. And there's this charming young faith healer here, and I don't want to move again. And I'm worried what I think that you'll do. So yeah, I haven't told you what I told. Maybe when the assayer was there, they mentioned it to me that it was potentially rich ground, but I didn't tell you because I thought you might just cut and run and sell really fast and leave, and I don't want to do that. I think that you should stay here and work the ground, and then we can be successful that way. But I don't want to tell you. I want you to figure that out by staying and putting in the work.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Okay.
that sounds good.
All right. So let me add to that. Um, okay. Uh, ranch is is uh, gold territory, but Elwood doesn't know. All right. Okay.
You know, what would make this even more fun
What?
is if he is one of the number six for the to get free is of crushing debt.
Yeah.
So if Elwood was in crushing debt,
Yeah, and maybe
and
that's
so
all the
his
more reason why he would maybe jump at the. Is that what you're thinking?
yeah,
I think that's a
that,
great idea. Especially if Hortense thinks my stress is because I don't want to be around her, but it's really because I'm broke.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. You. So maybe like I. maybe what if I don't know we're actually in debt? That you're in debt. Maybe
Yeah.
you've been telling me that everything's fine.
Well, I wouldn't want to worry you.
Oh, I have even a better idea. What if it's Elwood that wants to get even with Magdalena because she's the reason that he's in crushing debt?
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe so how did
I put
that
all my money in this crazy get rich quick scheme that she set us up with, and then she hightailed and ran out of town and left me holding the bag.
So maybe the to get even is actually Elwood wants to get even with Magdalena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of said it the other way, but
yeah.
Okay. So let's make sure that we're adding all of this in, the basics of it, because we don't need to type everything. But so we have a need to get free from crushing debt. Between Hortense and Elwood. And then, okay.
All right.
And so the Magdalena took Elwood's money is our additional detail, right?
Yep.
So our dice determined that there was an information and that it was the mineral rights and a need to get laid. So that's 3. And then a need to get free from crushing debt is the 2 dice between Hortense and Elwood, and then just a need to get even between Magdalena and Elwood. Okay, so that is the setup phase.
It's a pretty good setup.
Yeah. So let me try to... Now we take all of the dice. Whoops. Yeah, take all of the dice and move them back to the center.
Oh, hang on, I'm moving text. There we go. Thank you.
All right. So now the way this is going to work is we're going to go around and each take turns with creating a new scene where you choose to either establish or resolve. And so then we'll role play the scene and figure out, how it turns out. And if it turns out, positive for the character that initiated the scene, then that person gets a white die to give to someone else. Likewise, if it's negative, they get a black die to give to someone else. And then you just move that to your circle, not the card, because the card is the relationship, not the player. And then we do that until we have done 6. So let's go ahead and we can split the dice into. You know what? We just have to remember, because we don't want to limit. It's not like So hypothetically, we could pick all white die in Act 1, but what that would mean is that for Act 2, we have only negative outcomes. Available.
All right, so I start.
Yep.
Okay, so I think I would like to have a scene with Hortense where I'm looking for any information from the assayers and any mail that was supposed to come from it.
Okay. All right, so you're establishing, and so now we'll do the scene, and we'll decide at some point whether or not we get a positive or a negative outcome. And so if that's what you're looking for, then it sounds like positive outcome for you would be if you get the information.
Right, yeah.
Negative would be if you don't, right?
Right. Yeah, I'd say that.
All right.
All right. So, little cabin on a small patch of land on the outskirts of Boomtown. And Magdalena is within the cabin. And
oh, is she there? She's...
Yeah, she's there waiting. And in comes Elwood. And he's got mud on his... Well, not mud. Lots of dust and probably some caked mud from town.
Okay, wait. Hang on.
Go ahead.
Is this with Hortense and Magdalena? Everyone's
Oh, I'm
there?
sorry. Did I say Magdalena? I meant
You did.
Hortense.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just Elwood and Hortense. All right.
Just
Okay.
Elwood and Hortense. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. He's got like mud on his boots and dust all over, and he slams open the door and tracks all this stuff in. Mama, Mama, have you seen the Post?
Yes. That good young mailman came by and dropped off some flyers for the new boarding house that they're putting up in town.
No, like anything of substance, anything real, any messengers, anything. I've been waiting for a specific report, and they don't have it in town, and they don't have it at the surveyor's office, and I don't know where it is. You got
Well,
any idea? Have you
did-
seen anything about?
Well, I don't think that I saw anything like that. I know you're awfully eager to, but why do you need to know that? I mean, we're committed here. We got our place. Let's just make the best of whatever it is here. Why do we need some fancy know-it-all to come and tell us whether the land is good? The land is good. We can make our own way here.
Well, we don't want to waste time digging and panning in an area that's got nothing in it. We want to see what we have so we can go about things smartly. Get all the information. Information is the most valuable thing in the world. I'm always telling you that, aren't I?
Well, but Elwood, don't you think that it's we came here, you said you were going to be a rancher. Just because everyone else is panning for gold out in the hills doesn't mean you have to.
Well, ranches they it takes money to get all them animals and you putting up fences and all that, and well, it'd be nice, see what we got here, and if we've got something, we farm that out, and then we can get all the ponies we want. Now,
well, that sounds good. That was what you said we were going to do.
Absolutely.
When we were coming out here from St. Louis.
You haven't to seen my purse either, have you?
Your purse.
Yeah,
well,
the satchel that I keep my money in.
Well,
It's been looking a little light lately.
I have been seeing that that healer back in town. For my various ailments. My back has been acting up, and
Yes.
and my lungs. I still get the cough when the dust blows high.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry. And he starts patting her back. I just was wondering if maybe I left something in there that might help me find this mail, like the name of the assayer or something like that. I thought I took his card.
Oh, I don't know, but why do you need them anyway? So this is probably where we need to what's the outcome going to be? You have thoughts, Lee, or anyone else? See, I feel like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not supposed to say, but I'd love for this to go badly.
That makes more sense to me because it seems like we don't want to spoil this idea, this sort of conflict building information to let that get resolved,
no.
right? Because what I think is always more interesting is something that does not solve the problems.
Me too.
So does that sound like everyone's kind of on the side of a negative outcome there?
Yeah.
Okay. So Nutty, you take a black die and then give it to either Lee or I.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna give it to Lee. You stole all my money, even though I don't know you're here yet.
So let's go ahead and resolve the scene and just say, but Elwood, just all this talk of assayers and the mail is just making me feel kind of faint.
Oh, that's okay, Mama. Why don't I help you and let you lay down for a little spell?
Oh, Elwood, you're so good to me. I always knew you were a good one. Back when Julia picked you out, I just knew she'd make the right choice.
Oh, hush. I'll sing you that little song you like. Just calm down, stop shaking.
You're so good
shaking.
to me.
Anything so you don't cry again. I mean, anything for you, Mama.
All right. So that's the first scene. So next I will do. Let's do a scene with Hortense and Magdalena. I've come to you again for another session of prayerful healing and gossip and just hanging out. So that's so I'll establish in this case. I'm just like, um, oh, Magdalena, sweetie, are you in there?
Oh yes, Hortense, come on in.
Oh,
Come on into the
good,
back.
good.
I've got some tea on.
I know that I said yesterday that I wouldn't be back till Wednesday, but the cough, the wind was kind of high. It just got me coughing. I just felt like I just have to go see Magdalena.
Oh, don't worry, honey. Have some tea. This is my specialty, the one you like.
Oh, it's just delightful, this tea. Magdalena, it's so inspiring coming to you, and I just know that you're here doing the Lord's work, acting as the Lord's shepherd and taking care of all of his sheep's wants and needs.
Oh well, it's always been a duty. The Lord has put all y'all on my heart, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, I am glad to hear that, and I think those charms you gave me have been working. Like I wore them like you said when I was doing the laundry, and I think my back felt a little bit better.
Oh well, good. I have a new shipment that's coming in shortly. I think you'll find some. I think I'll be able to make you something that will just help you ride out, especially with that cough.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you know what really helped the other day is when you laid your hands on me, and I just felt the Lord's healing touch just flowing through your hands into my body. It just gave me this glow like I've never felt before.
Well, have a seat. Have a seat.
Oh, of course.
How did it get into your body?
So I think so like what so the scene is focused on my character because I established it. So like what would be a positive or negative outcome for this scene, do you guys think? Like if because so like I have this need to kind of get more out of this relationship even than what's already been happening. I'm kind of pushing for that, so maybe that's sort of this positive.
I think that would be it. I think for things to get a little more physical is what Matt Hortense is looking for.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
This is,
Yeah. Now just sit down, calm down.
yeah.
Let me rub your shoulders a little bit.
Oh.
We'll get that blood flowing, and get the Lord in here to help you clear out. I can still hear some of that congestion in there.
Oh, I swear you just have magic hands. Oh, sometimes I just feel like, the dress is kind of constricting a little bit. Maybe what if you were to just like just massage my back, just like I could just loosen it a little bit.
All right, honey. If that'll make you feel better, then that's what we'll do.
I think that would just remove separations between you and me and the Lord. So that sounds like I'm getting what I want. Is that a positive outcome here?
I think you are.
All right.
Yeah, Lee, what do you think?
I think she is too.
Well, so and is Magdalena like after something? Like what is her actual feeling about Hortense here? Like this is so.
I think that she thinks that she's a very sweet and gullible person with and now that she knows about the minimal rights, she's the more she can string her along, the more
All right.
money she can get. So she's
So I'm getting what I need. So whatever else needs to happen, that's how I just thought, whenever I come here, I find myself just looking forward to these visits all day.
so do I.
Really? You're not just saying that? I mean,
Of course not. Of course not.
I know you've probably got so many other people that you're caring for here in town. You always really make me feel special.
Well, when you're here, you are my focus.
Yeah? You mean it?
Of course.
Great. You're my focus too. All right.
Poor old lady.
So that's a white die, and I'm going to give that white die to Nutty.
Oh, thank you.
No, I mean, white versus
Not the
black
big
is
deal.
like not universal. That's not like good versus bad, like, because the math is basically going to be how many black versus how many
Exactly. Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
All right. So that means it's your turn now, Lee, to either establish or resolve. So you can, if you choose to resolve, it'll mean that we decide what the scene is, but you get to decide whether it's a positive or negative outcome for you.
Okay. I think I have to do Magdalena and Elwood.
All right.
And is established that he's coming back in maybe to look for that letter one more time and sees Magdalena just crossing the street somewhere.
So he's coming back into town.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
he has not realized that this faith healer and his Magdalena are one and the same yet, or what?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, this will be
Yep.
his first notice. All right. So Magdalena is crossing the street, and Elwood's all huffy and is that? Wait a minute, Maggie?
Elwood! That is you! I thought I'd seen you, but I never got close enough to talk to you before.
You so we're in public. We're in public. Listen, little lady, you left me holding the bag.
Oh, I didn't. I never did. Johnson said he was going to come and get you and give you your share of the money.
My share of the money. Okay, and just where were you? You were supposed to be there. We were supposed to be wed, and you just left me with no money, and the debtor's coming after me, and the law on my neck.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. My husband came and got me.
Your what? You were supposed to marry me. What do you mean, your husband?
Oh, no, I've been married for a long time. We just don't live in the same city much at all.
Why?
Ever.
Tell me that you were going to marry me, and why did you let me adulter myself with you if you knew you was married? That's a crime and a sin.
We have an open relationship.
You
He has his lovers, I have mine.
know, I should have known when you said we was going to open a casino that you were not a woman with morals.
Well, I am offended by that, Elwood. You just march
told
yourself
me.
along. I am not. No, you just march yourself along. Do not speak to me.
Do not speak to. Whatever happened to my money?
And she just walks off.
Well, hang on. So we have to decide what the resolution is. So,
Yeah.
Nutty, what do you think? Do we want to? I mean, a positive to me, it would sound like she sort of gets to escape the situation relatively unscathed, whereas a negative might be like a big scene in the middle of town.
Oh man.
I know which way's Nutty. I know which way's Nutty's going. Yes.
I do
That's
like
kind
these-
of my vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the big scene.
Okay.
All right, so that's going to be a black die, but let's go ahead and play that out. So, like, yeah.
Elwood, you let go of my arm. I don't have your money. Johnson had your money.
Well, you are going to have to account for that. Maggie O'Henry, you by golly, I mean, what are you even doing in this here town?
I think
I'm
lots of
doing.
people are staring now from all along the street.
I am doing the Lord's work in this town.
The Lord, I don't believe that's Magdalene O'Neill. She's a wonderful faith healer. Faith healer. She's an adulteress. How dare you?
How dare
claim to be
you?
the preaching and healing in the name of the Lord? You just admitted to me you're an adulteress, which, as I may remind you, is both a crime and a sin.
Lots of whispering, like, what is it? What is it?
Shall we go find the preacher? Shall he determine all of this and cast you from here? Or are you gonna settle up and make right?
Well, I don't have your money. Maybe
Yeah.
I can write to Johnson. He should have you. I'm serious. He should have your money.
Well, I tell you, I have right mind to go to the sheriff about this. And let me tell all y'all's watching here, this woman is not a woman of Jesus. She's not a woman of any God, because I don't know a God that is okay with adultery. And oh my goodness. Oh
So
my gosh, I
is
think she
is
gave me
this
a
where
massage with
Magdalena
that.
would she could storm off at that point, maybe?
Yeah, she could storm off.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So now you take a black die and decide to assign it to one or the other of us. And it's basically, I mean, they're just going to, determine things in the tilt. Okay. So one other thing too, as we enter the second half of Act 1, we can definitely, kind of like we were just doing with the crowd there, we can have scenes that aren't just the three of us. We could have a scene that's everybody, all three of us. We could have a scene like Elwood storming into town to talk to the surveyor, for example. Like that,
Yeah.
that could be a scene, and then just like you or I, Lee, would play the surveyor in that context. So that sort of thing can happen. It's basically just that each person on their turn, the scene has to focus their character.
Right. All right. So are we still in Act 1?
Yes, we got
Okay.
3 more scenes in Act 1.
Excellent, excellent. All right. So I am going to say that the next scene goes poorly for me,
Okay.
and I will let you guys decide who I am interacting with.
All right. Given given what kind of just happened, and where you were going to when you were getting into town, but maybe now you were going to try to look for this lost mail. Like, why haven't you gotten this report in the mail? So maybe you're going to the post office, but now you're so wound up. You're so wound up from seeing Magdalena that you're just not in the frame of mind to grease wheels.
All right. So where am I going?
I guess to the post office, but like so you're going to talk to like the mail carrier and say, where is this report? It should have been delivered.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, do you want to play that character, Lee, or I can?
You do it.
Okay.
I just failed really badly.
Well, hey, but that's the
Yeah,
game.
great though.
All right. So,
So into the post office.
ding,
He
ling, ling,
slams
ling.
the door opens.
Oh, hi there, Elwood. How are you doing? Boy, you're looking a state. Are you feeling all right?
I'm not feeling all right at all. I need this report that I've been asking about for the last darn 2 weeks. Have you seen it? I need a record of it. There's got to be some way to know where it came from, where it went. Something. It can't just have disappeared. And I can't even find the surveyors anymore.
Well, okay. Now, Elwood, please just kind of calm yourself a little bit here, because I deliver the mail myself. Anything that comes in and out of this office, I deliver to its assigned address. And you've been getting a lot of official looking mail recently, and I try to mind my own business when it has red stamps on it. But I'm just telling you, anything that comes through here has your name on it. I delivered it to you or to your mother-in-law.
I haven't received anything official looking. I've been getting boarding house notices and
Well,
entertainment at the gym and all
it,
sorts of nonsense.
well, look, if you're accusing me of somehow losing your mail, then let's maybe just put a fine point on it. And I've seen bill collector mail coming to your house. It's got all sorts of red stamps and official looking notaries on it. Seems to me that you got some people coming after you for something or other.
I, I was not accusing you. I'm just frustrated. You see, it's very important that I get this stuff. I don't know what to do. Look, thankfully I appreciate you not blabbing about anything. My mother-in-law, she would not appreciate to find out the financial situation. She's already got so many health problems. I
Well,
just
right, like that. Like I said, I keep my mind on my own business. This is very. I take my job very seriously, Mr. Epps. This is not something that I take lightly. And when I get mail for you, I'm gonna bring it to you to your house, and I've always done that. And so, if you are not receiving in receipt of something you think you are due, uh, it's not my fault. So, maybe you need to just keep your temper under wraps before you go off making accusations, because other people can do that too.
have you ever left the mail on the outside when nobody was home? I'm just wondering if maybe
I hand
that
every single
means
envelope to you or your mother-in-law. I heard you shouting out in the street too. Seems to me like you're everybody else's business today.
that is not everybody else's business. But by the way, that faith healer in town, I don't know if you've been to her. She's a crook. She is not
I
a
mean,
faith
I'm
healer.
Jewish.
Oh well, then you don't go to them. Is that the deal?
Not
I
the
don't know
not
what.
the Jesus-y ones.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure she's not Jesus-y, but because she definitely. Well, I mean,
Look,
I'm
that's none
pretty
of my
sure
business. That's
she
like I said,
claims to be
so
Jesus-y, but she ain't
I,
Jesus-y.
I ain't got no more mail for you, Mr. Epps. So if that's all you had, then I think it's time for my break.
I- I'll probably be back tomorrow. I hope I'm in a better state. I do apologize. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not having a good day, week, month, year. Kind of chuckles at me.
All right, so that's a black die that you give to
Oh
your.
yeah, yeah. I'm going to give that to you, Christiana, because you have no
Okay.
dice.
All righty. So let's see. I think Hortense. Um, hmm. You know what? Hey, I'll do another resolve too. I'll say I want a positive resolution for Hortense. I want something to go well for her. So what I'll resolve. You guys um, establish
Mm.
the scene.
Well, she already got physical. What else does
Yeah.
she want?
Well, again, it's like it doesn't have to be. It doesn't
No, I
have to
know.
be the.
No, maybe the surveyor stops by and, with an offer that he wants to purchase the property, since
Oh,
he knows what the results were.
Oh, I
yeah,
like that.
yeah, I like that. And okay, and then so like the. Okay, yeah. So
All right, Lee,
Yeah.
I think you should play the surveyor because you got a pretty good
Okay.
idea here.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, how you doing?
oh, Mr. Sawyer, it's good to see you. I'm really sorry that my son-in-law isn't here to meet you again.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I was just wondering before all the jackals start pawing at your door,
Oh,
do you think we might be able to cut a deal?
well, I told you when you gave me that original report that, me and my son-in-law Elwood are not interested in turning this place and digging it all up and ruining this natural beauty. We're here to ranch. We're going to be ranchers, and that's what we want, and that's the end of it. We're not looking to dig it up or sell it to someone else who's gonna.
All right. I understand that. However, you know that I have the inside scoop on all the property around here. And Old Man Johnson, about, 3 or 4 acres over where your property line sits, that's much better ranch land.
Well, that's Old Man Johnson's business. We picked
He's
up
looking to sell. He's looking to sell both his house and his cattle for half of what I'm willing to pay you and your son-in-law for this piece of property right here.
Well,
He's gonna go. He's getting on in years. He's got a daughter in San Francisco. He wants to move there, be close to her in his last years.
I think that if it's that such a good deal for him to sell, then he should do that. But you don't know my Elwood like I do. You see, he's always had this problem where he wants to get rich quick. You follow me? And this is bad for him. This is bad for him. No, he needs to be here and do the work. He needs to be a rancher and follow through on what he said he was going to do. And that's what we're going to do. And that's all there is to it. And if you can't take no for an answer, then I'll thank you to never darken our doorstep again.
All right. I just thought I'd put in the offer.
Very well, that's fair, and don't send any more mail either.
All right, have a good day, man.
So I'll give a whoops. I'm grabbing the wrong screen. I will give a watai to Lee.
Oh man, that was good.
All right, so yeah, we're building the stakes here, establishing context. So one more scene in Act 1, and then we will do the tilt. All right.
Okay. All right. I'm going to follow the example. I want a scene where something goes badly for Magdalena.
Okay.
You see how fun it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about having trying to have her first sort of like group pitch, because like she's got her like Hortense, she got her people who already come to see her, but she's always on trying to do more, right, and get more customers and everything. And so maybe she's having one of those sort of like revival light type meetings to try to get to that more customers essentially, but maybe it is not going great because the word is starting to get around a little bit from what Elwood said, and maybe people are concerned.
Okay.
So that might just be like, you're given the pitch, and Nutty and I can sort of be people in the crowd.
Yeah, we'll be the hecklers.
I'm just trying to figure out what I would say.
Jesus, Lord, demons be gone,
Because, okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. Have a seat. Have a seat. There's some places over there by the window. I have some chairs. If I need to get something from the kitchen, I'd be more than happy to.
So I was thinking this is like
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get. I'm just trying to get my brain around it.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I don't mean to don't cramp.
So, welcome. I am so glad you've accepted my invitation here to talk to me tonight. I just wanted to. Oh goodness, I don't know.
Doesn't look like the Lord's with her tonight.
Yeah, I heard there was a bunch of yelling out in the street. What are you, uh, you just, is this a racket?
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. I am sorry. I met with Mr. Epps earlier today, and he's just kind of thrown me off, thrown me out of sync with the Lord.
Well, he's new in town too, so we don't know if we trust him, but I think he asked some questions that need answering.
Yeah, what exactly are you selling here?
I'm not selling anything. I am, of the goodness of my heart and the blessings of the Lord, I am here to help you feel better.
With adultery?
No.
With my wife, I think a little adultery would help me feel better.
You mean both. But my wife, don't let her hear that I said that.
Well, no, we're church going folk. You and I, we're here to see if the Lord can help heal us from our sinful ways.
Yeah, that's it. Besides, she tells me that cast iron, it gets harder when I'm asleep. Think about that one.
I'm trying not to.
So why did that man say that you were an adulterer?
We had a difference of opinion some ways back, and he was just trying to insult me.
Are you married, ma'am?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am.
Do you have Congress outside of that marriage?
Where is your husband?
Yeah, where is he? Why would a husband let his wife roam free like this? Oh, let my wife do that.
Unfortunately, my husband and I tend to not get along quite so well. So, in the interest of keeping those arguments at a minimum, we tend to go our separate ways most of the time.
Does that sound like honor and obey to you?
You said on this flyer you could help with marital troubles. It doesn't seem like you're very good at it.
I don't remember putting up that flyer. Let me see that.
What exactly can you help with?
I can help with physical ailments. If you have that horrible cough that's going around, I have a tea to help for that.
Well,
if you have trouble in bed, I can help. I have a tea to help for that.
I have a problem.
What?
It's my leg. Someone keeps pulling it.
That's a good one. I like that. So,
yeah.
Will you giving me one of them massages? Help me in bed? I think it might.
So, it probably would, but not into mine.
All right. So I think that's probably we've established that that confrontation has definitely messed with her groove, and it's not looking good for her continued operations in this town. Okay, so that's a black die that you can give to Nutty or I.
Let's see. I'm picking on Elwood.
All right. So so we have now completed Act 1, and it's time for the tilt. And the way the tilt works is first we're each going to roll the dice in front of us. So remember that the way you do that is you right click on each die, or if you move the die to where you can kind of select them as a group, you can do it as you can roll them all as a group. But you right click, go to multi-sided, and pick random side. So you do that with all of the dice that you have, assigned to you.
Yeah, it's that's weird. I couldn't roll them all together,
Okay.
so I'll just do them individually. All
All right.
right. Random side. Random side. All right.
Okay.
So
So the way this works is, if you have the high number of either color, you're going to help add a pair of complications. And so basically, the highest black die is 4, which is mine. The highest white die is a 5, which is yours, Lee. So that's going to be, it's the two of us that will add these complications, and we're going to do that with the remaining die in the center here. So we're going to roll those all together new. See, I just selected them all in one go and then did the same right click, and it did it. It seemed like they all changed, but it didn't pop them up in the chat or anything.
oh, that's probably what happened for me as well.
Yeah, so they did all change. So now what that means is that we're going to look at the tilt table, which I guess I didn't send you. I'm sorry. It's in the PDF, but I will. So we're going to basically choose 2 elements from the tilt to help us determine complications that we're going to want to include as we do Act 2. So there's 6 categories of tilt. And I'm just realizing that with 6 die remaining, we should be able to do 3. Well, let's see. It says, okay, but yeah. So we're just picking 2, even though there's theoretically dice for 3. So the 6 categories are mayhem, tragedy, innocence, guilt, paranoia, and failure. So, for example, you could pick one. So the dice we don't have a 1, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and so no 4. So 2, 3, 5, and 6. So that means for your first die, Lee, you can pick that. Are we going to have a tragedy? Are we going to have something that's an innocent element, something associated with innocence? Are we going to have paranoia, or are we going to have a failure?
Let's say failure.
Okay, so let's we'll put these down here to represent the tilt. So that's a failure. So now I'll pick one, and I will pick that we're going to have. Let's see. We're going to have some paranoia. So now you're going to pick one to go with one of those. So we have a failure and a paranoia. So and we have 2, 3, and 6 to pick from. So if you're going to pick for failure, something precious is on fire, a tiny mistake leads to ruin, or fear leads to a fateful decision.
Let's go for fire.
Well, so we can do that, but let me just read the choices for
Yeah.
paranoia also.
Okay.
So the choices for paranoia are: what seems like dumb luck isn't, things are afoot. 2 people cross paths and everything changes. Or somebody is watching, waiting for their moment. Yeah, so it can be any of those that you want. So.
Yeah, I'm still going to go for everything is on fire.
So something precious is on fire, and we don't decide now necessarily what that will be, but it means that as we do our scenes for Act 2, we need to try to incorporate that element somehow. All right, and then I will pick for paranoia, and I'm basically have the same 3 choices. And so what I'm going to say is 2 people cross paths and everything changes. All right, so let me let me add add the tilt information here. I can add a new card. Okay. Okay, so let me add. Okay. All right. So let me. So that is there we go. So what the game. Whoops. Let me move the dice back and then get that text. So now all the dice go back in the center.
All right.
So what the game actually recommends first is actually at this point before going into Act 2, it says, take a break, stretch, and get a snack. Talk about where the game is heading. So I definitely, I feel like that we don't need to all necessarily actually take a break, although if you need one, that could be an opportunity. But to briefly kind of just talk about where things are going. I don't know about you, but I definitely already think that paranoia, two people cross paths and everything changes, has got to be Elwood coincidentally running into that surveyor, right? And realizing that Hortense has been lying to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love how oblivious he is. He's like, my mother-in-law, nah, she wouldn't do anything like that.
But so that's got to start maybe kicking in that need to get free. That crushing debt, given everything that's happened, and hearing that, this is actually an opportunity that that she's been lying about. That seems like that could be a fun thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't have to decide like everything now, but I just mean like as far as things are going, I feel like we've got a kettle on the stove, but it's not boiling yet. But of course, that's what
would that kettle possibly make something go on fire?
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking the something is on fire is probably Magdalena getting run out of town.
I was going to say Magdalena's pants.
Her skirt. She is a lady.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing definitely that we should keep in mind, I think probably having played before, Nadia and I both know this, but it's designed as part of the game. Like, don't think small. Yeah. Big, bad, terrible things can happen in this, like the worst things. So like the worst possible things, how do we make every scene make the situation worse and worse and worse and worse in every possible way that it can?
The worst things would be that lawmen eventually come for Elwood, and he hasn't had a chance to sell his property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we could even have characters get murdered. We get violence, tragedy, all of these things. And the thing is, like, the game even actually talks about, like, it's possible that someone's character could get killed before the end of the game, and that's fine. And it just means that, like, if you have scenes for that character remaining, they might be flashback scenes that might add new wrinkles or information to the situation. Yeah. All right. Anyone need any other additional break, or are we ready to move into
you know what? I'm actually just gonna run and get something more to drink. I will be.
Yeah, I need a short break as well.
Okay, well, I will vamp for a moment, and then you guys do the same for me when you get back.
Okay.
All right. So, if you are watching this, later or listening, this is definitely a fun game we're playing here. And, one of the things that has occurred to me in terms of learning this game a little better is, especially since we're playing this as like a break from the Curse of Strahd campaign, it does seem like one of the things that seemed fun to me, a fun idea, was what if we made a Barovia playset? So playing a game like this, but set in the cursed lands of Barovia, currently controlled by the Devil Strahd. That seems like that could be fun. A lot of supernatural elements, and that I feel like that would be a perfect kind of a playset setting. In fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if someone has already done that. But I had that thought a little bit. And it's interesting just because the play sets in these in question have just basically lists of elements, as we've kind of talked about, and so a lot of the details that kind of come in can be interesting. Like we didn't end up with a lot of we had the one detailed object, but so for example, if we had gone in another direction, we might have had an untoward object like a mortician's black bag and a jug of phenolic acid. And that might have changed things a lot if that was a thing, instead of the deed or whatever, the assayer's report.
So I am back if you need to run.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was just talking about like what sort of the play sets entail, but yeah, I'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah. So one other thing is, if you're interested in this book and playing this game, in addition to these play sets, they also have at the end a bunch of like mini ideas that you can use to make your own sets. So you can. It has at the back, it says filmography, right? So there's a bunch of ones like 4-note perfect fiascos, and under there we've got Blood Simple, Burn After Reading, Fargo, and A Simple Plan. So these are like some films that you can kind of base your play set on, and you can kind of create your own idea there. You can also buy a bunch of play sets already done, but if you wanted to, you could say, you know what, let's do a Fifth Element kind of a thing, and except like everything dies at the end, or whatever. And you could actually make your own location and just take one of these play sets and just adapt it to that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I talked about actually while you guys were away is that it had occurred to me to make a Barovia playset.
That would be cool.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I feel like it would be a perfect setting for this sort of thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Barovia, you could do, I forget the name of, but the other game that you run in so many levels.
Mm-hmm. Say Kamian is the name of that.
That's
world.
it.
Yeah.
I'm like, the world you created.
Well, it doesn't actually even come up all that often anymore. Yeah. Like it was sort of when we established the world, we did, but then it hasn't really come up. It's like how often in normal conversations do you talk about Earth?
True, exactly. How many times do we mention, by the way, I live on planet Earth. I live in Canada. The only time I bring that up is if I'm talking to Americans.
Yeah. Or like in other like regular D&D settings, you could just say, boy, these sure are some forgotten realms.
Yeah. No. But I think that this is a really great, especially the way that we're using it today, it's a really great break for players when you're doing regular, continued campaign, especially when only a couple of players can show up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of overlap with improv training, especially I know one of the things that I've kind of always struggled with when I take improv classes, there's you can have this instinct to want to solve problems. Mm-hmm. Someone comes in and just says, oh my God, my boss is coming for dinner and we haven't prepared anything. What are we going to do? And you might have an impulse to just say, well, don't worry. Turns out I'm actually an expert chef and I can make a perfect dinner in 10 minutes. And then the scene goes like, oh,
flat.
Okay, well, I guess do that then. As
Whereas
opposed,
the
as
most fun
opposed
choice
to,
is, well, I don't know how to cook, but how hard can it be?
or like,
So
wait, your boss
shoes,
is
they
coming
go
for
good.
dinner, but I have the whole parent teacher association coming for dinner.
Exactly. Yeah. Just create more problems.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where comedy happens.
Yeah. All right. So the refinement in Act 2, we're going to do scenes in the same way, but it should essentially, we're going to look for opportunities to add that tilt information. Excuse me. We're looking to make things worse and just escalate. The final die, we're actually, so, oh, you know what? I just realized we should have kept,
Kept our die.
wait, no, hang on. I'm a little bit confused because it does say, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, the dice we had for Act 1 we should have kept separate. I know I had one black one.
I had 2 blacks and a white.
Okay, I think you had one of each, Lee?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so just keep those over there. And they're gonna. It doesn't matter what the number is. We'll re-roll. But the point is just we want to have 6 to choose from, and we want them to be the ones left over from before. And that's like why I was saying, in theory, if we got all bad outcomes before, we'd have all good outcomes remaining.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So basically, it's the same rule, only this time when you get a positive or a negative outcome, you keep it instead of giving the die to someone else.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And so that's the rule. So I think as in previous rounds, Nutty, you go first.
All right. So we were talking about these chance encounters. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe let's work on that. And I really don't see any way that could go well for Elwood, by the way.
Yeah.
Because even if he finds out that his land is worth something, he's also finding out that the only person he cares about has been playing him.
Well, and also maybe at this point the surveyor is so fed up that it's kind of like you can't deal with people that don't clearly you guys have got problems. I don't want to be in business with you or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something has got to prevent this from just being a situation with, oh, it was all a misunderstanding. Let's sell after all.
So, actually, you know what? I'm gonna add in there. Maybe one of you plays the surveyor, and one of you plays somebody bringing me a letter or something saying that, or telling me that the debtors are here for me. Not the debtors, but the claimants.
What if the surveyor realizes he doesn't know?
That's good too. All right.
The surveyor that wants to buy this land realizes he doesn't know what it's worth.
All right. Let's play this out. All right, so he's walking down the way and he sees the surveyor, and I don't think we gave him a name.
I think it was Sawyer.
I said Sawyer, Mr. Sawyer.
Yeah, Sawyer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sawyer? Is that you, Mr. Sawyer?
What? Oh, howdy, Mr. Epps.
Ah, Mr. Sawyer, I have been looking for you. You have no idea. I've been all around. Did you send the survey for the land?
Yeah, I did. Did you not get it?
No, I didn't. Do you have a copy or something?
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
I mailed the only copy I have into the regional office.
Do you happen to remember anything about it?
No, I'm sorry. I've been doing the survey for this entire area, and everything's mixed up in my head.
Oh, it would cost quite a
It would
another.
cost you. It would cost you $150.
150 each.
Yeah.
And how long would it take for you to resurvey that?
Well, actually, this is the last day that I'm in town. I'm heading out tomorrow to the next section over. Get started over there. I'm not going to be back this way until next year.
Even if you had a paying gig?
Even if I had a paying gig, unfortunately.
This is not good. This is not good. Would the regional office have any copies, you think?
Yeah, I mailed that in to them, but I don't know the regional office. It's about
wire.
No, they don't.
See, I'm intervening a little bit, but I thought the whole idea was that the surveyor knew he didn't know and therefore was gonna take advantage. If I'm jumping the gun, let me know. But
no, I'm thinking that out.
Okay.
So they don't have a wire?
They don't have a wire. I've talked to your mother-in-law a couple of times. What is I don't see the problem with the property. Why are you so interested in the survey? What's going on?
Well, honestly, I just
are you interested in selling?
Well, perhaps if the price was good. That's one of the reasons I wanted to know what was on the land. I mean, there's some pretty healthy claims out here, and I was kind of hoping that we stumbled into something good.
Yeah, I don't know if you stumbled into something good, but you've got what, 100 acres?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I can give you 10 acres or 10 per acre if you want, and just take that off your hands. There's some other places where you can use that money to turn it around, or buy your way into some of those claims.
Yeah,
I know there's a couple prospectors up in the hills that are looking for other people to help them with the claims. They're running so good, but you'd have to buy your way in.
Well, you see, here's the deal. My mother-in-law, I don't really want to move her too much, but like wherever we go, I need to have a nice home for her so she can.
Oh, okay.
And I was just kind of hoping I could. I really want to do this ranching thing. I don't have the startup cost, So maybe I could sell something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I clearly did not think this out. I thought I had more time. So 10, you say? Oh, 10. It's not very much.
10 per acre. You got 100. You got 100 acres. That'll be about $1,000. I can be back here about a week or so with the money.
Would you be willing if I sold all but say the acre or two that the cabin's on?
Okay. So that would be about a little short of 1,000. Yeah. We could see. I could do that deal.
All right. Yeah. Let's. I'm gonna go to the deed office. I'm gonna talk to a lawyer. I'm gonna start the paperwork.
Okay.
Leave town. I'll go figure that out. And
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll send a telegraph over to one of my partners. He can bring me the money. So maybe we can do this deal in a week. I can loan you a week to get this deal done.
A week. That's yeah. I was hoping for something a little sooner, but
yeah, it's gonna take him a couple of days to get here with the money. It's not like we've got instant transfer credit cards or something.
What's a credit card? I don't know what credit is, but okay. No, you know what?
Hey, Mr. Sawyer, I'm as your assistant. I just want to remind you, we do have that big chunk of cash we got from the other sale. We could just transfer that over. I mean, you could have the paperwork done into 18 hours if we're really eager to get this done.
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
Just
Yeah,
need to
but
get the paperwork signed as soon as possible.
yeah, that's true.
All right, all right. Let me head on down to the deed office. I'll get things settled. You're still staying at that hotel, that red one over there.
Yeah, that red one over there.
I'll send someone for you once I get these things situated.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. 1,000. I'm not sure that's enough, but let's see. He's mumbling as he's walking away, wondering maybe that'll hold him off, or maybe she can stay. I don't know.
All right, so that's a black die for poor Elwood getting
Poor Elwood.
taken by this opportunistic surveyor.
Yep. Bastard.
Keep going to grab the one on this screen, so I'm just rolling that over to you. All right, so we're starting to run low on the black die, but the last one can be wild also. So for Hortense, I think she is going to have a scene with Magdalena where she goes and learns that Magdalena is a little bit discouraged and thinking of moving on, and wants to convince her to have one more big revival, just like make a big show of it, like that night, just do right in the town square, get everybody there, and you can show by healing me that you really got the stuff, and that'll change everybody's minds. So that's the
I can't see how that would go any way but badly for Magdalena.
Well, yeah, but positive for me if I convince her to stay in town. So I'm thinking just convincing her to stay in town instead of leaving is Hortense's goal here.
Okay.
All right. So Magdalena, I must say I've never seen you look so pale. You look concerned, and wait, are you packing?
Yeah, honey, I'm sorry. I need to move on. I need to move on.
Oh, but no, you can't move on. There's too much here for you. The Lord has work for you here. I have my cough. you can't just leave.
Yeah, honey, I'm sorry, but the Lord is calling me on. I'm no good to him here. They've closed their ears to me.
Oh,
they won't hear. I can speak as many words as to fill the ocean, and they will not hear a thing I say.
Oh, but this is such a sinful town. I know that they may have hardened their hearts, but I believe in you. You have opened doors within me that I never thought I would open again. Not since I was a little girl, but you have convinced me that you are truly here to serve the Lord's good, and this town needs your help, and I believe that you can turn them, and what we just need is we need just another a big to do right in town square, and you can prove to them, like I'll help you prove to them that you really have the ability to heal. Everyone knows I've got the cough. And then my back troubles me sometimes, but I've been feeling better. You could heal me in front of everybody, and then they would know that you really know what you're doing, and you're really here to do good works.
I don't know. This, I've seen this happen before, where they've closed their hearts, and it never turns out well. It never does. I think if you would be willing to stand up with me.
I will. I'll be there with you. No matter what happens, I'll be by your side.
I'll give it I'll give it one more shot. I'll do it for you.
Oh,
I'll
thank the
I'll
Lord.
give it one try.
A little out of character nudge. Maybe Hortense can remind her about the land.
Oh, right. It's like, well, if you need the, the land, the we've just got so much going on here, and maybe if everything goes well tonight, like we could find some little part of the land here that we could build a church for you right here on our land, and it would be a shining beacon for all around, and you could build it right next to our house. Build it on our land for free.
I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how tonight goes. I just
Well, however it goes, just know that a chunk of our land belongs to you. I'll sign paperwork or whatever.
Wow.
wow.
That sounds like
That
a
is-
positive outcome for what Hortense was wanting, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and I'll take a white die. All right. Time for a scene for Lee.
Okay.
And so you can establish or resolve. We did it all one and all the other rounds, Act 1, but you can mix and match. It's fine.
Okay. I kind of set this up unintentionally, and I don't know if this is something. No. I honestly don't know. Because what I was thinking is what Magdalena told Elwood was that Johnson had his money,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Old Man Johnson who's selling his farm.
Yeah.
So my thought is that they're actually the same person.
Ah. Are we thinking they are the same person, or she could
Yeah.
convince him they're the same person? I mean, they could be. I mean, it's a big coincidence, but sure.
Yeah, so a good outcome for her would be to convince Elwood that the Johnson that lives in the property right beside theirs is actually the Johnson that supposedly has Elwood's money.
Okay. And so she's what, going to him to try to calm him down with that information, or what is she trying to achieve other than just convincing him of that? Like, that's a means to an end. What end?
To get him off her back. She doesn't really expect tonight to go all that well, so she wants to get him off her back so that she can make a clean getaway tonight. After
so like she's just trying to
happens.
convince him not to maybe interfere with her thing tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to not come after her if she has to split and run.
Okay. So let's role play that scene, and we'll decide what the outcome is.
All right. So where do you want the scene to take place? At Elwood's?
I don't know. What do you think? Because everything is happening awful fast. I'd almost say she catches him coming out of the lawyer's office.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
That
she's
works. Yeah.
Elwood, there you are. I am so glad I caught you.
Maggie, unless you got my money, or
I
you
found your money.
more. You found my money. Tell me
Found
about
your
this.
money.
Okay, where's my money?
Your money. I told you Johnson had your money. The
Mhm.
reason I'm here is because he came here too.
Johnson.
He's out on that Johnson. He's out on that farm, out on the western border of that property. I think you might share a property line.
You mean Old Man Johnson?
Yep.
Now, how was Old Man Johnson related to the casino? Because I mean, I know it's
He
been
was
a couple of years.
he was the one who came up with the plan initially.
That man
He was
is a
the one.
God-fearing man, and he is blind as a bat. He couldn't do anything. What makes you think that he?
He is just more convincing than I am. I have to take my bonnet off to him. He is a very convincing man, but he has got your money.
Are you trying to tell me he's not actually blind?
He is not actually blind. He's also not actually old.
What?
That's theater makeup. He's a stage actor.
Damn good theater makeup. I mean, he is.
He's also not bow-legged.
Wait a second. Why would somebody pretend to be all of those things to just eke out a pathetic existence in this here town?
I don't know all the details.
You know what? Here's the deal. If you say that
the
Johnson has my money, he doesn't know me from Adam, because I mean, he knows me a little bit because we share property line. We have some chats. I can bring him over on Sunday, but you're going to have to come over with me and you're going to have to talk to him for me.
Well, unfortunately, I can't do that because
Look.
I've got a thing I'm setting up for tonight, so I am busy all today.
I'm sorry. Do you
I'm telling
have a
you,
demonstration? Oh, I bet they would be all sorts of happy for me to tell them about all your past and the things that you've been doing and the things
you
said
don't
about
know
Mr.
half
Johnson.
of what I've been
So
doing.
listen, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a deal. Either you come with me to Mr. Johnson's and guarantee that I get my money, or you come up with, I don't know, better than 20 an acre and buy 98 acres of my land, or you get out of here. Actually, not you get out of here. Or you get out of here, and then I'll ruin your thing tonight, and you would not be able to leave town. I will testify against you, girl. You make your decision. So, does it go well?
It doesn't sound like it, no.
I mean, it seems like it's currently leading towards a negative outcome for Magdalena, but I mean, you know, if
no, that's
like,
well, no, I knew.
If Magdalena actually has money, though, and can outbid the speculator, knowing what's on the land, that could also work.
I mean, that's a lot of money for someone who's not really in that business. And I mean, to some extent, she did convince you, or at least persuade you that that guy is actually involved.
Might be, but I'd still say this is a negative outcome for her. Either way.
Okay, but we still need to certainly what is the actual resolution? Right now, it's sort of at an ultimatum, so we can say it's negative, but how what? Because right now she's stuck. Right, she's in the position of she wants to do this thing, but he says he'll ruin it. But if she goes with him, then not only might it expose the lie, but she'll miss the tent revival thing.
Yeah.
So so we can say it's negative, but yeah. So it's negative. We'll go ahead and give you the black die. But what's her response to this ultimatum?
So the ultimatum was either come and convince.
Come with him to Johnson and persuade him to give up the money.
Offer him more money for his land.
Or
Or get out of here and expect me there tonight.
Okay.
You know, what would Magdalena do? She seems like not a pushover.
Yeah. She says, all right, I'll see you tonight then.
He with bales on. Girl.
All right. So, Elwood's next scene. And so you can still choose to resolve, but because there's only white die left, the next two have to have positive outcomes for the character, but then the last one can be either wild.
I would like for Elwood to meet up with the lawmen representing the creditors who want to take him in for not having his money.
Okay.
And what will work out well for him is if either they'll let him pay partial and give him more time, or if they'll give him enough time to secure his mother-in-law, and then he will go with them to prison or whatever they want to do to him.
That would be the negative.
No, those will both be positive.
A positive would it be that he goes to jail and they.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he can set up the mother-in-law.
Okay. I'm interested that he still seems interested in doing that, given that she lied to him.
But he doesn't know.
He does, though. The surveyor told him that she told her.
Yeah, but he doesn't really.
He doesn't believe it.
It's not really like.
He doesn't attribute malice to it. It's more like, oh well,
he's
assuming
she got confused. It's something she forgot or whatever.
So are these? This is like the Pinkertons who have come in to be basically debt collectors.
Yeah. That like they're gonna come in, take him away, beat him up, whatever. And his whole goal is, well, if he sold 98 acres, he can leave her the money, and she'll be cared, and she can take care of herself. And then he doesn't have to worry about her.
Yeah. So I guess we're probably establishing though that even even this 980 that it's part of this deal, that's not enough.
No.
Okay. All right. So I think probably Lee and I are both going to be we're both these lawmen.
Okay.
Or we're agents, basically, the Pinkerton agency. Anyone who doesn't know Old West stuff, the Pinkertons are basically, they're like private bounty hunters that are essentially usually under the employ of rich people to just do whatever needs to be done. In theory, they're often bounty hunters chasing down actual criminals, but in practice, they're mostly a private army.
And thugs and stuffs. I mean, they did thwart some things against Abraham Lincoln, but then they also kind of failed when he died. And they were also known as like busting up unions, so by beating people up. So they were also thugs. Yeah.
So in any event, I would say maybe just shortly after Elwood. So is this maybe just shortly after Elwood made his threat to Magdalena that they grab him? All right.
Yeah, he's talked to the lawyer, but he hasn't finished things at the deed office.
Okay. Mr. Epps, please, hands where we can see them if you don't mind.
I have no iron. I am a peaceable man. I think I know who you are.
Yeah? Tell me who I am.
I believe you're here on behalf of Tottenham Holdings, which I may owe quite a bit of money to. And I am willing to work on that. I'm actually in the middle of that. I'm trying to cover my debts here.
Well, what do you know, Eddie? He's smarter than his debt would have led us to believe.
Yeah, well, youth leads us to some inexplicable folly, I'll tell you that. And so does love. Oh boy, don't follow a woman into business. Let me tell you that. I wish I knew that before. But
you sure are a talker. I think we're mostly looking for money rather than talk.
Yes. Well, sorry. I am close to having some of it. And
Eddie, what usually happens when people we're after are close to having some of the money?
I usually shoot him in the leg.
Now, Mr. Epps, we don't always have to do things the usual way. Sometimes we get bored of doing things the usual way, but that is the usual way. Close to having some of the money. Tell us more. Let's see if we want to mix things up today.
I'm 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 in the middle of a business deal that would get me about half well, let's see, probably about a third of what I owe. And well, if this deal goes well, I should be able to get more of the money as time comes if the I forget what I called them, holdings would allow
Tottenham.
that.
Yeah.
Tottenham Holdings would allow that. Um, if that's not the case, well, maybe there's something else that we can
Well,
work out.
if you have some sort of an arrangement, you work out like a payment plan. Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Payment plan. Well, maybe that's something you could arrange with Mr. Tottenham back in St. Louis. So I think you're coming with us right now.
Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna resist. I'm 100% there. The one problem is if I leave now, the deal goes away and Mr. Tottenham gets no money. So would it be all right if I finish the deal and then I go with you and I can we can deliver it in person to Mr. Tottenham and that way he gets at least something.
How long?
Well, I'm thinking by tomorrow morning, everything should be settled. Um, I've been to the lawyer's office. I just got to go to the deed office, and I got to get this other man to sign.
Deed. You mean land?
Yep, yep. I'm selling off some land here.
What are you thinking, Eddie?
I'm thinking Mr. Tottenham might be interested in exchanging that land.
Oh,
You think he wants land out here? There's a bunch of dirt farmers.
Yeah, but he's got that, I don't rightly know what to call him, but that boy his daughter married. Who doesn't have a head for business. He's been complaining about wanting to get rid of him.
Yeah, yeah. To
So
everyone
if
who'll listen
instead,
for sure.
yeah, so I was thinking if he might accept the land in order to get rid of his no good son-in-law.
So you thinking we ought to stop this business deal then, or I'm just trying to imagine what Mr. Tottenham would want because he does want to get rid of his son-in-law. He does also want money. I don't know. I mean, land seems hypothetical, but a big chunk of cash, even if it's not the full amount, I don't know.
That would be up to Mr. Tottenham.
well,
I just don't want to lose out on a deal that might
cancel out my debt, maybe.
well and put a feather in our cap
What are you
for
talking
getting
about?
rid of
Cancel
the
out your
son-in-law.
Epps. You just admitted you were going to sell this land for a third of what you owed. What canceling do you think is happening here?
Oh, I don't know. One could be hopeful. I mean, if it's really worth all that much to get rid of a son-in-law.
Be a feather in our cap for sure. Because we can't shoot him. I prefer to shoot him, honestly.
Yeah, we could shoot
Son-in-law
him.
or me?
I'm up in the air about that right now.
Well, so as a brief little out of character, I'm just thinking about like what leads to because like if we're waiting for the deal to finish, that means we stick around until that happens, and then with the expectation we're getting cash and him coming with us.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're accepting the land, then it's like, I feel like that almost solves problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it does create more because if they did the land, then Hortense is out on her rear end because he's going to want the whole thing, not 98 acres.
That's true. Like, so maybe the idea is just what they're planning to take him to St. Louis. It's just a matter of, are they waiting for the cash, or are they going to say, no, you're bringing the deed with us and we're going to take the whole thing and we're taking it all?
Yeah.
Well, but then why wouldn't they just leave right now, and how does that build towards our end? I mean, I don't want to be the dictator, but the idea of wanting the cash, building, like, they're sticking around him, like they're going to not leave his side, these violent folks, waiting to get a bunch of cash and having to stay in town long enough for this whole event to happen. That seems like a recipe for more stuff to me.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't want to be just declaring it.
I just threw that out there as a.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, that's fine. There's no wrong ideas.
You're the senior. You're the senior of the two of us.
No,
so
well,
I'm
no. I don't want it to be that. So I don't want to just be overruling you. It's more a matter of, like, let's figure out what leads us to the most interesting climax. Is the goal here.
I think that the most interesting climax would be for them to stick around. Mm-hmm. So maybe Elwood could convince them, no, you want the money, because he knows he has to keep those 1 or 2 acres that the house is on.
Yeah,
for his mother-in-law.
Yeah. Maybe that can be it. Is that, like, that's the positive outcome?
Here's the deal about that land. Only 98 acres are for sale, and there is a cabin that is close next to it, and that part I don't actually own, so I can't sell that part. So I can only give to Mr. Tutnam what I actually owe. Would he be okay with, say, a cabin and a little old lady living right next to his property?
Oh.
No, I don't think he would want that.
No.
That he would want the whole thing.
Yeah, see,
I mean, we could just encourage this old lady to leave.
No, I don't think that's a good idea at all.
We're pretty handy at burning down cabins, honestly.
No, that's not good either. You see, she's the reason, you see, she's related to the governor. Yeah.
And what's she doing out here?
TB. She's got tuberculosis and yeah.
Honestly,
you don't want to be in the city then.
Burning down the cabin seems the safest thing to me, but
Well, no, that's why the governor put her here, because you start messing with her and the army's going to start showing up, and I don't think Mr. Tutton's going to like people looking at you as affairs, especially the army.
It does seem like a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eddie? Maybe we just do the cash after all.
Yeah, that seems.
Sure,
that seems
you want to just share with this little old lady?
No.
No, she might get in the way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we wouldn't want that to happen, especially with the governor being all interested. All right. Well, I'm on my way to the deed office now, and I will go and finish up this deal. But I promise to you, I will return myself with a third of what I owe.
All right. Well, I think you're not going anywhere without us.
Oh, goody! I got me some shadows. All right.
Yeah. All right. So, positive outcome in the sense that these violent agents are not going to just drag you away and take all the land.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll go ahead and give you that die. All right, so let's see. Hortense needs a scene with a positive outcome. You know what? I'm gonna just. I mean, obviously, it's kind of a decided already, but I'll go ahead and say that I'm resolving. So you guys establish a scene for Hortense.
Okay. I think Hortense needs to find out that the land is being sold, and she hears from the lawyer that he's selling the land, and she bursts into the deed office, all upset.
Okay.
Tries to block it.
Yeah. So,
And
yeah, and so she's gonna basically try to say, it was my family money that bought this land. He can't sell
Yep.
it without me.
Women have a right to inheritance now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That seems fun. Is this is maybe she's bursting in while Elwood is there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and while they're finalizing the deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So that seems fun. So like maybe you're the deed officer, Lee, and then Elwood is doing the negotiations, and then Hortense is gonna burst in and spoil things. And we got to imagine that these two agents are probably on standby too.
So would he be doing the deal with the deed agent, the deeds office, or would he be doing the deal with Sawyer?
Well, I would think that Sawyer and the deed agent, but first he's got to talk to the deed agent, right? So
Yeah.
To like get the land in like a piece of paper that could be handed over the contract or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so we probably got everybody there then, except Magdalena of the agents and Sawyer and the deed agent, the deed guy and Elwood.
So I'm picturing that the Pinkertons are sitting down like in the same room.
Yeah.
But
like they've taken the seats in the back and they're just doing the
pouring over the papers are Epps and the deed agent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Tucker, listen to me. So this is what we're going to do. When Sawyer brings the cash, I need you to put some of it in your desk and promise me by the Lord that you would give that to Hortense. And the rest...
Door slams open. Elwood Epps, what do you think you're doing?
Mama, what are you doing here?
That nice young postal carrier told me that you were going all over town to talk to lawyers, and now here you are in the deed office. Are you selling this land out from under me?
No, Mama,
How
come here.
could you do this? You know it was my family's money that got us this spot here.
Mama,
you
I'm
said
not
we were
selling
gonna
your
ranch.
cabin. Mama, I'm not selling your cabin. Come here. Quietly, please. Listen, I'm selling some of the land so we don't lose all of it, okay? Your cabin is going to stay there, and I'm giving you a little nest egg.
No, you promised. You promised we were going to ranch, and we're not going to be able to ranch on just the cabin. You said that you were going to make a go of it this time. You're just cutting and running like you always do,
I'm not
Mr.
cutting and running.
You do
I
not
don't
want to make
have
a
a tr-
deal with this man.
Mama,
he is
do you
not
see these
reliable. He
angry
is not.
looking
He's
men
not
over
a man
here
of
that
his
are
word.
standing up right now? Do you see these angry men over here with their hands on their pieces?
Troublemakers. They've brought in town due to your actions, no doubt. Listen, you fellas. This man is not a good man. He makes lots of promises. He says he's going to take care of his poor old mother-in-law who's ailing. I have a cough, But he's a liar. He says he was going to ranch, and now I find out he's going behind my back to sell the land that we bought with my family's money. When my daughter died, I thought that this was a man of honor.
Mama, I'm trying to take care of you, but these men, they need to take me away because I owe a lot of money that I was not able to pay back.
What?
And I'm trying to work on that so that you can be safe.
More lies! More lies! No, you take this man away if you have to, but this land belongs to me. It was my family's money that bought it. My name is on the deed too. You can't sell it without me. And you don't want to sell it to him anyway, so you liar, you no good skunk, if you're gonna break your promise, and I'm done with you.
Well, Mama, I'm sorry. And I assume the deed officer is like, she's right. You can't just sell it if she said
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe Mr.
But Mama,
Sawyer's kind of like, well, maybe my original instincts were right on this one. That these people are not.
Yeah.
Mama, listen. If that's the way you feel, I am out of options, and I don't want to leave. But unfortunately, I think I'm gonna be joining Julia soon. So
You won't be
I just
because
want
you're
you to
not
know
going to the same place as her. And then she'll storm out.
that Jesus, Mama, you don't even give a dying man a last word. Frankie.
I think I grabbed the last die already. So yeah.
Yeah.
So she has skunked the deal.
Yes, she has. Damn it, Mama.
Yeah. So we have one more scene that needs to focus
By
on.
the way, I assume that Epps tries to follow her, and the two Pinkertons are like, no.
Well,
Nope.
I'm thinking actually that this is a little bit of behind the scenes after Hortense leaves the scene, but then there's maybe the one guy, I don't think we gave him the name, but he kind of turns to Eddie and says, "So we're burning the cabin, right?"
Oh,
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It sounds like there's only one way this dude's going to have any money is if that sale goes through.
Yeah.
Or we could just take the land.
Or we could just take him. Because it sounds like he can't. We
Well,
can't
he's a
get-
liar.
I'm gonna
That
die.
lady, she's
Yeah.
not. She's not no governor's relation. He's
Yeah.
lied to us. Seems like
Yeah.
what we need is this whole deed, that whole piece of land, and it seems like she's the one that's in the way of that.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
pretty sure
I think
I did.
I think I need to go have a conversation.
Oh.
All right. So now one last scene in Act 2. We're trying to escalate everything. And remember that this, although it's a white die, the last one is wild, so it can still go either way.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm thinking that Magdalena is psyching herself up for this revival meeting thing that she's got going on in the town square that Hortense convinced her to do.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, she's got everything that is important to her in saddlebags on a horse just outside of town. And she's ready to run as soon as it goes bad, like she thinks it's going to go bad. And Hortense busts in the house crying that her no good son-in-law has tried to play her.
All right. So
and it kind of interrupted the trying to get her. Okay, I can do this.
yeah.
All right.
I think
I'll
this
just-
is like moments before she's supposed to like go out
Yeah.
there and start the everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And this is also probably something like we could include getting into the show a little bit or starting it. But we'll see. So yeah, okay. It's just Hortense is Magdalena.
You just. Oh, there, honey. You just about scared the life out of me.
I'm so sorry, but I've got nothing now. My darn skunk of a son-in-law. It turns out he was trying to sell the land out from under me all this time, and he probably sounded when I saw some of the numbers on that deed, he was going to sell it for peanuts, and he did, and we were going to make a go of it, and then he was going to sell it out from under me, even for just a little bit of money, and it's all ruined. I'm done with him. They're gonna take him away, and you and I we can take the land. We can build a church like we said.
No, honey. I think this is a sign.
What?
I think this is a sign. It's time to go. It's time to go. When the Lord's workers start calling, it is time to go.
But what What about me, though? You're gonna leave me with nothing?
And in through the tent comes a very angry Elwood who has managed to escape the Pinkertons just as they were about to kill him. And he runs in. If there's one thing that I do, the last thing that I do is I'm going to ruin this night for you, Maggie O'Henry. And he runs and he knocks over the candles and flames start licking the sides of the tent, and I'm assuming that in the back they're getting a little warm.
Yeah.
And may have heard some commotion. So maybe they come out. I don't know.
Well, yeah. So, we just like, you see, he's coming for us. It's only our love and our faith in the Lord that will protect us now. I knew you had feelings for me. I knew you had them.
Maggie, are you alone back there? Because I tell you, girl, all that you've done to me.
You stay out there, Elwood. You stay out of it. You don't understand our love.
What are you
We're leaving this
doing
town
here?
without you.
Mama, why are you here?
Because we're in love.
What? Do you have any idea what this devil woman is? She's the whole reason I owe money. She left me holding the bag. She stole everything from me.
Oh, you're a damn liar. I don't believe a word you say. Tell him, Magdalena. Tell him that you're the Lord's servant. You would never do such a thing, and that you're in love with me.
She's the Lord's servant who's married and adultered herself with me without ever telling me.
Tell him it ain't so, Magdalena. Tell him it ain't so.
Yeah, why don't you tell her your real name too?
You're not telling him it ain't so. Why aren't you telling him it ain't so?
Because I can't tell a lie.
What?
Sure you can. Lots of lies. I've heard plenty of them.
Yeah, like you were good in a sack.
Yeah, well,
What?
I may be bad in the sack,
Yep.
but I don't steal people's money, break people's hearts, and turn people into adulterers without ever giving
And what
them
do
a
you
chance
think
to
a
redeem
casino
themselves.
is at its what do you think a casino is at its heart? It's lying to people, taking people's money, and breaking people's hearts.
You're supposed to be a
I am out of
This
here.
world is full of sinners. And Hortense turns to run, but then as she's starting to run, her back seizes up and she falls over one of the benches in the front, and then only at that moment sees that the knocked over candles have started to set the tent on fire.
Well,
Oh, my back! It's burning! It's the fires of hell coming to consume all of us!
oh my god.
So Elwood grabs Mama and he's trying to help her out of the tent and trying to help her up, and I'm sure she's kicking at him and clawing at his face.
It's like, and I can't believe this. Be healed! And whacks her right on the back and resets her spine.
Well,
No, but
basically kicks an old woman in the back while she's on the ground, surrounded by fire.
No, Elwood's picked her up.
Oh, okay.
And,
Got her over my shoulder. She's kicking
got her-
and screaming.
yeah.
Okay.
And so what Magdalena does is she hits her in that in the place that's kind of kinked up that
okay.
makes her hurt so much, and it loosens up everything to the point where she can move a little bit better.
Okay. That's and so she's able to.
Early days chiropractic.
The Lord has acted through you despite your own sinful ways, but I'm not letting you run away from what you've done here. And she's basically gonna grab Elwood around the legs and trip him, like tackle him.
Well, no, she's over Elwood's back.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, but she grabbed Elwood. Hortense is stopping you guys from leaving.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a very wonderful idea that is not so good for Maggie. Not Maggie, Hortense. But So he's trying to get her out, and she grabs onto the side of the tent, causing him to fall.
Mm-hmm.
As he falls to the ground, she's able to start to get up, and in comes the Pinkertons, who are firing and not looking where they're shooting.
All right. I think my cough is getting better.
Mama!
All right, so that's I think a good place to end the scene. That seems like probably.
I don't know how that ended.
Well, I think it seems like a negative for none of that is according to what Magdalena probably would have wanted, although she's not. But so what that just means is now we do the aftermath.
Yes.
So it still counts as a white die now that you have it. So basically, what we do for the aftermath, and we use the aftermath table to kind of determine the broad category of what happens to the character. And then we will do little montage of scenes, like little micro scene, one per die that you have, to sort of play out the aftermath of all this. So the way that you do the math is you add all your white die together and all your black die together. Whichever one is smaller, you subtract that from the larger number.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever that result is, you'll have either the black was higher or the white was higher, and then you'll have a number associated with it. So that's that's how you do it. So for example, for me, my white die added together is 7, my black die is 6, so that is a white 1. Which incidentally is white 1, dreadful. You are certainly dead, probably from a self-inflicted wound. People you care about are also probably dead, maybe through your own stupid, ugly failure. To say that you fucked up is an insult to fucked upness. You have redefined the term.
That is actually fairly accurate.
Yeah, so we will do the little montage, but that's what I'm shooting for when I do the montage. But so, what did you guys get?
So I got a black 3.
Black 3?
Right? Yeah, black 3.
That is harsh. Shit in a bag harsh. A lifetime of medication harsh. A big black cloud of hurt is going to rain all over you. The things you need to happen are not going to. Simple as that.
Oof. Nice.
Yeah.
Looks like you also have a white. Right. You also have white 1, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the same one that I read. Is that dreadful? You don't actually have to be literally dead necessarily, but essentially that's the tone you're looking for in terms of how this has all turned out for you.
Yeah, like maybe you die on your way out of town or something.
Yeah.
All right, so because you actually have the highest number of die anyway, we'll have you start, Nutty, and then we'll just alternate. And
after Elwood is sobbing over his dead mother-in-law's body, the Pinkertons thrust the gun into his hand and call the sheriff over, claiming he set the fire, and then he killed this poor old lady. This man is a monster. Arrest him. And he gets arrested.
Well, so are you just doing the whole thing? The way that I don't want to interrupt, but the way and we can do it however we want. The way the rules describe it, though, is that we do like a montage where you would do like just that much of the scene, and then I do just a little bit, and then Lee does just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And we go around, and you basically have one micro scene per number of die you have. That's the way the book describes it.
So the micro scene is sobbing over mom's death, and the Pinkertons blaming him for her death and saying he set this fire and then he shot an old lady.
All right. So for mine, Hortense, as she is bleeding out there on the floor of the tent, smelling the smoke, she dies believing that everyone she ever believed in had turned out to be a liar and a monster. And
That's accurate.
she's
Yeah.
she's going to see her daughter Julia soon, who is the only other pure one in the world.
Aw.
All right.
Okay. And as Magdalena is using this wonderful distraction to run out the back, her dress catches on fire. And so she manages to hit the ground and put it out, but she is severely burned and not able to actually get up on the horse and ride out of town like she planned. So she is actually hobbling down the road, burned, and kind of fleeing for her life, just hobbling with the horse, pulling the horse behind her.
You're like this stupid woman. So my next mini scene, I can flash forward, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so flash forward, and the judge is like, "Look, talking with the sheriff. Look, this guy is babbling in tongues or something. He did it. He's guilty. He has been unhinged for the past 2 days. We all know he did this, but I can't hang a simpleton. We gotta send him away to some place that takes care of people like him. I mean, I can't do that. Can you do that? I can't do that. All right, we need to find a place where we can send him." And that's that.
All right. The land itself, once it becomes, forfeit to the, the once Hortense is dead, the deed can now be sold, and Elwood is not able to, participate in the sale. Basically, all of his assets are forfeit due to the murder. And so basically that surveyor buys the land for a song, still being now the only one who actually knows that it's worth a lot of money, and basically buys it at auction super cheap.
Nice.
Okay. So, hobbling down the road, burned, pulling the horse with all of her most prized possessions in the saddlebags, she gets robbed. The horse is stolen. She's knocked unconscious. Basically, with just the clothes on her back, they even take her boots. So now she is burned, barefoot, penniless, with basically absolutely nothing.
Nice. All right.
Oh, I already did that.
Okay.
That was I already done that one.
Okay.
So sent to this sanatorium in a horrible backwoods area, not being fed very much, not being bathed very much. Poor Elwood starts to see visions of his dead wife, Julia, his mother-in-law, and Maggie, and they taunt him mercilessly.
All right. I think once the land has been sold, and everything is transferred hands, and they're in the process of basically strip mining this whole big plot of land and getting a lot of minerals. That postal carrier shows up again, realizing he now has no one to deliver this piece of certified mail. That turns out that Hortense actually had won a contest for a poem that she sent in about how much she loved her dutiful son-in-law.
That's horrible. Poor Elwood. He's a jerk anyway, though.
They're all
Right,
jerks.
he is a liar.
All right. Speaking of visions, disoriented after the concussion that she obtained when she was robbed, Magdalena loses her way and wanders out into the desert with only cactus juice to drink. So, just wandering around, no idea where she is, no one close by, and getting drunk off her butt on on cactus water. As she slowly until she finally just she's just in this stand of cactus and she's not moving.
All right. Epps, in a moment of lucidity, is reading a magazine that has the printing of this beautiful poem written by his mother-in-law, all about how much she loves him. And his hallucination says, I wrote that before I knew the real you, and starts grieving him. And he clutches his poem to himself, constantly torturing himself, reading it over and over and over again.
Yeah. And let's see. She is eaten by wild coyotes. The end.
Yep.
And in another magazine, much later, he discovers that a casino is thriving as an industry called Johnson's Casino in that town that he used to live in and thought he was going to be marrying a young Maggie O'Henry. And he dies in this horrible, horrible place and state as an old man. Tortured.
As an old man.
Yeah.
Indeed, that was a fiasco.
I was pretty harsh, right?
All right, that was pretty fun. It's
Better
certainly-
Off Dead comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely. Yeah, that was fun. We had a lot of fun elements there. We incorporated both of the the tilt elements, like the first one, like the paranoia, two people cross paths happened just sort of right off the bat, and then the tent burned, causing everything else to go wrong.
You didn't expect it to come from Elwood, did you?
Actually, I was expecting Maggie to have to set the tent and the town on fire in order to get away.
See, my original idea, and I think you guys probably picked up on this, was that the Pinkertons were going to burn the cabin in order to eliminate Hortense as a problem for selling the land. But, any of those could have worked. But this is how it actually happened.
Yes. Which this was so much fun. Every time I play this game, my cheeks end up hurting because I'm laughing so much. And every now and then there were just little things that, oh boy. Every time she talked about their love and awoken things in me I hadn't felt since I was a girl.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was great.
All right. So, thank you guys for playing, and any of you listening and or watching, thank you.
Paulette just joined us.
Oh, just now?
And the first time she typed, "Hi, Paulette."
Yeah. Hey. Hey. Just in time for us to be finishing up our little game of Fiasco here. I think we are still intending to complete our Curse of Strahd D&D campaign, but especially now that we've got kind of a we've got a game under our belts, we might play some more Fiasco at some point in the future, because this was a lot of fun.
Yep. This was great. I would be in for this any other time. Like I love this game so much. It's been way too long since I played it.
I can't even imagine playing this with Tim and Mark and
Novellas.
Novellis. Yeah.
Yeah, having more people, it gets more and more confusing, and it adds different levels of dynamics. There was one game that I played where it was like a D&D type setting, and I was a werewolf, but I was the human version, and the person next to me was the wolf version. So depending on whose scene it was would determine if it was day or night, and the wolf version would go and have his own adventures. It was a blast.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that does it for today, and you know, we'll be back to play something else at another time. So, good night, everybody.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.